You were never his secret. You were his backup plan. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. Because suddenly, all the confusion starts making sense. The late replies. The cancelled plans. The way he disappears when it matters most. And reappears when he feels like it. It was never random. It was designed. Not in a calculated, evil mastermind way. But in a deeply human, selfish way. He didn't choose you fully. Because he never had to. You were always there. Waiting. Understanding. Adjusting. And that's what made you convenient. Let's be honest about something most people avoid. Being someone's backup doesn't start with them. It starts with what you accept. Because the first time he didn't show up, you forgave him. The first time he chose something, or someone, else over you, you told yourself, it's okay, he's just busy. And slowly, you trained him how to treat you. Not with your words, but with your tolerance. Now this doesn't mean you deserve it. But it does mean you stayed in a position where you were never the priority. And humans don't fight hard for what's always available. That's the harsh truth. He didn't wake up one day and decide, I'm going to make her my backup plan. No. He realized you weren't going anywhere. So he stopped choosing. And started balancing. Balancing his life. His comfort. His options. And you became one of those options. Not the main one. Just the safe one. The one he could come back to. After everything else failed him. The one who would still listen. Still care. Still be there. And that's where the psychological trap tightens. Because you don't feel like an option. You feel like something special. Because he tells you things. Because he opens up. Because it's different with you. But understand this. Emotional intimacy without commitment is one of the strongest illusions. It makes you feel chosen. Without ever actually being chosen. And that's why it's so hard to leave. Because you're not addicted to him. You're addicted to the potential of what he could be. To the version of him that only exists in moments. Late night conversations. Deep confessions. Promises that never fully form into action. And every time he gives you a glimpse of that version, you hold on tighter. Thinking, this is the real him. But the real him is the one who doesn't choose you consistently. That's the version you keep ignoring. Let's go deeper. Why do people keep backups? Because they're afraid of loss. They want security. Without giving up freedom. They want options. Without consequences. And if someone allows that dynamic, they won't stop it. Because it benefits them. You give him emotional safety. But he doesn't give you emotional certainty. You give him loyalty. But he gives you availability only when it suits him. And over time, this imbalance starts affecting you in ways you don't even notice. You overthink everything. You analyze his messages. You wait for signs. You start measuring your worth based on how he treats you that day. Some days you feel important. Other days you feel invisible. And that emotional inconsistency, it's not love. It's conditioning. Your brain gets used to the highs and lows. And the rare moments of attention start feeling like rewards. That's why leaving feels so hard. Not because he's the right person. But because the cycle has trained you to stay. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. If you disappeared tomorrow, he would notice. But he wouldn't chase the way you imagine. Because you were never his only option. You were his comfort option. And comfort doesn't create urgency. Loss does. But only when something was truly valued at its highest level. So the real question is, why are you okay being someone's backup? Why are you fighting for a position that was never meant to fulfill you? Because deep down, you know this isn't enough. You feel it in the silence. In the waiting. In the way your needs are always postponed. And yet, you stay. Hoping he'll change. Hoping one day he'll realize your worth. But people don't suddenly value what they've been allowed to take for granted. Value is established early. And reinforced over time. And right now, the pattern is clear. He comes and goes. You stay. He gives little. You accept it. He keeps control. You keep hoping. And nothing changes. Until you do. Because the moment you stop accepting a backup role, you force a shift. Either he steps up. Or he disappears. And both outcomes give you clarity. Because staying in confusion is what's destroying you. Not the truth. The truth actually sets you free. Even if it hurts. So if you're listening to this, ask yourself honestly. Am I being chosen? Or am I just being kept? Because those are two very different things. And once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. And that's the moment everything changes. So what should you do when you realize you were never the choice? First, you stop chasing clarity from him. Because clarity is not something he's confused about. It's something he's avoiding. You already have your answer. It's in his actions. The inconsistency. The excuses. The way you're always, almost, important. But never fully. So step 1 is this. You stop asking him where you stand. And start deciding where you stand. Because the moment you keep asking, you give him power to keep you in that same position. Second, you break the emotional habit. Not the connection. The habit. Because what you're feeling right now is not just attachment to him. It's attachment to the pattern. The good morning texts. The late night talks. The sudden attention after distance. Your mind is used to it. And when you try to leave, it doesn't feel like peace. It feels like withdrawal. That's why you go back. Not because he's right for you, but because your brain wants familiarity. So understand this clearly. Missing him does not mean you should go back. It means your mind is detoxing. Third, you remove yourself from being available. Not as a game. Not to make him chase you. But to protect your energy. Because as long as you're available, he will keep you as an option. Silence is powerful. Distance is clarity. And when you step back, you finally see things without emotional fog. You start noticing how little he actually gave you. And how much you were filling the gaps on your own. Fourth, you stop romanticizing his potential. This is the hardest part. Because you didn't fall for who he is. You fell for who he could be. The version of him that almost chose you. That almost committed. That almost became everything you wanted. But almost is not real. And building your emotions around potential will keep you stuck in something that never fully exists. So instead of asking, what could this become? Start asking, what is this, right now? And if the answer is confusion, pain, waiting, then that's your truth. Fifth, you rebuild your self-respect. Because somewhere in this situation, you started shrinking. Accepting less. Explaining more. Waiting longer. You adjusted yourself to fit into a space that was never made for you. Now it's time to reverse that. You stop over-explaining. You stop over-giving. You stop proving your worth. Because the right person doesn't need to be convinced to choose you. And finally, you walk away. Not dramatically. Not with anger. Not with a final speech hoping he'll stop you. You walk away silently. Because this isn't about making him realize your value. It's about you realizing it. And choosing yourself. Even when it hurts. Because it will hurt. You will question your decision. You will miss him. You will remember the good moments. But what you won't feel anymore is confusion. You won't feel like you're waiting to be chosen. And that peace is worth everything. Because at the end of the day, you were never hard to love. You were just placed in a situation where love was never the intention. And the moment you step out of that, you don't lose him. You find yourself.